Here are 3 exercises to help you get rid of your anterior pelvic tilt, also known as hollow back. I'm going to explain what it is and how it develops, and then we'll do 3 exercises to address the problem. So how do you develop a pelvic tilt? Ina, please come over here and sit down next to me so people can see you. A hollow back, a tilt of the pelvis, is caused mostly by too much sitting without any compensating activities. Because the hip flexor, which in this position is set to being short and remains that way, does the following as soon as you get up. And remember, that muscle is attached to the lumbar spine and the pelvis. It pulls the pelvis forward, but since you want to stand erect, you develop an arch. Straighten your legs if you want to. And you develop this overarched lower back with your butt typically sticking out funny like that. So this kind of funny butt is the result of your pelvis tilting forward, pulling in your lumbar pelvis, giving you this overarched hollow lower back. Because everything in the front is way too short on account of too much sitting. Now, this is the origin of the problem. And knowing how this pelvic tilt starts and gets worse over time will help us realize what we have to do about it. Probably have guessed it. If everything in the front is too short, we'll have to lengthen it there. Let's do an exercise now. So please get down on all fours, Ina. And now, in a stable position, with your arms locked, hands pointed out at a 45-degree angle, tense up your abdominal muscles as if you wanted to pull up your pubic bone, and while you maintain this tension, you're moving slowly forward and allow yourself to hang down. And every in-between position is possible. Maybe in your case, you can only get this far or a bit farther. Please even closer to the mat. Always pull up your pubic bone. Now, you should feel a stretching pain in 2 places. First one in your groin, or your stomach in the front, of course. And the other place is here in your lower back. And that is the only position that compensates well for our sedentary habits and in one go. But we'll tweak it a little bit. Hang in there for 2.5 minutes. And after 2 minutes, bring your right knee out and put your right foot against your left knee. And now your hip is rotating a bit, and you'll notice in your left groin, your left hip, and pelvis, there's a different kind of stretch because now it's working more on that part of the hip flexor that is attached to the iliac bone, because both elements pull your pelvis into this tilted position. And again, hang in there for a minute, lowering in there. And after 1 minute, you change sides. Straighten your right leg again, bring your left knee out. And now it's easy to see that the pelvis is rotating in the other direction with the stretch working on our right side here on the so-called iliacus muscle that runs into the iliac bone. And while you hang in there, keep the tension so that your pubic bone is being pulled up so that it's rather the groin that's coming down than your stomach to better stretch the hip flexor. Again, you do that for a minute, and that was the exercise for the front to stretch it open. Ina, now please sit for our second exercise. In the second exercise, you sit with your legs stretched out, but in a way that still allows you to reach them with your hands if you drop your knees sideways. And then you focus on this area where your pelvic tilt problem sits. But first, you have to understand one thing. The place where your pelvis starts to tilt, creating this inward bend, your muscles and fascia here are getting shorter and shorter. And the same is true for the ligaments surrounding your spine there that support you in all directions. This entire structure becomes shorter. And that is what you are pulling apart now, stretching it nicely for 2.5 minutes, and the stretch has to be here, exactly at the point where your pelvis starts to tilt forward to give everything its right length again. And that's how we address our body's response to all that shortening in the front, by lengthening everything in the back. Do that for 2.5 minutes, and you'll notice when you leave this position after the first 2 exercises how loosened up your back feels right away. Because what else is happening is that the pressure acting on our vertebral discs is reduced more and more. And so, right after the exercise, this pressure is still minimal, and you'll feel easy and relaxed, and everything that is tightened up here is much more relaxed. So now we're going to do a third exercise, and for this one, we'll need our mini foam ball, the smaller one. So, we're going to start off with some self-treatment, things that you could do yourself so that you can get your hip flexor to let go, to loosen up, because you're stimulating it the right way, directly, using a pressure stimulus. Turn towards the camera, please, Ina. And now use your hands to measure out the distance from your crotch to the inner side of your left thigh. And there, you'll feel a little hollow space between 2 muscles, and that's where you place the ball. Try it a bit more outside, maybe up a little bit, and there you could feel where it hurts. And that's where you go in and roll the ball around with a lot of intensity for 2 minutes. With a lot of force, press hard to really have an effect. And that's going to send certain relaxing signals to your brain, and that will dial down the tensions even more. And as you can see, we're rolling with the mini ball, which is part of the set here, with 2 other foam balls of different sizes and the 2 foam rollers, which have this groove in the middle, which is very important. You'll learn to love them. So that wraps up our exercises. If you've liked our video, we'd appreciate a thumbs up. And please, this hollow back, this pelvic tilt is such a common problem. Shortened hip flexors, even more so. So please, pass along this information. Share it with your friends. Share this video so that as many people as possible learn about this, about the origin of a hollow back and what to do about it. Our vision is a pain-free life for everybody. Please be part of the solution by spreading the news. Thank you. Bye-bye.